It may surprise or even shock you to hear what I'm about to say, but if you're seeing this video right now, it's no accident. There has been a persistent, deep stirring in your spirit, a subtle yet unmistakable feeling that you are on the brink of something unprecedented, something that goes beyond your current reality and extends into a future you never dared to imagine. You've sensed it in the moments of quiet determination and the flashes of clarity that reveal your own untapped potential. Today, the message is clear. As a chosen one, you're being guided toward a major breakthrough, one so grand that it could lift you into a level of financial abundance your family has never experienced before. You stand on the threshold of becoming the first millionaire in your bloodline. If you feel that resonating spark within, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment 77 below to affirm your readiness for this extraordinary transformation. Chapter 1. You always felt destined for more. Somewhere in your life's journey, you recognize that your ambitions stretch beyond what others around you deem normal. In childhood, maybe you were the one daydreaming of cosmic adventures or planning an empire of possibilities. Or in your teen years, you couldn't help but notice the difference in how you saw the future compared to your friends, who seemed content with simpler goals. Though you couldn't put it into words at the time, you felt a pull in your soul, a gravitational force drawing you toward a different outcome than the ones typically repeated in your family's history. Even when your surroundings looked bleak or resources were scarce, you navigated life with an undercurrent of hope. Perhaps you faced skepticism or teasing for reaching so high, but your heart never let go of the vision. On some nights, you might have lain awake imagining a life where debts are paid off, houses are fully owned, and there's an overflow to support your dreams and the dreams of those you love. You recognize this wasn't just about money. It was about breaking cycles of lack, cycles that had lingered in your family for generations. Yet with all that promise, you also faced trials. Crises that tested your resilience sprang up whenever you pushed closer to a dream. Friends withdrew, or unexpected bills arrived. You battled thoughts that maybe your ambitions were too grand, that you should settle for something more realistic. But each time, despite any lingering doubt, you found the courage to stand back up. Whenever you came close to giving in, an internal flicker of faith rekindled. You might have labeled it perseverance or simply your innate spark. Now you see it was divine guidance fueling your unstoppable momentum. Throughout these milestones, you noticed a subtle tension in your family. Some didn't fully believe in the magnitude of your goals. It wasn't always malicious. It was simply shaped by what they thought was possible. They saw the world through narrower frames molded by generations of financial struggle or missed opportunities. Yet you felt unwavering conviction that you were meant to change the narrative. It wasn't about ego or the need to prove anyone wrong. Rather, it was about honoring the deeper sense of purpose you'd carried since you were small. That intangible pull toward more wasn't a delusion. It was a prophecy whispered in your spirit, telling you that you could be the catalyst your entire lineage had prayed for, even unconsciously. Now, with every step you take towards self-improvement, business ideas, or unique creative ventures, you're bridging the gap between your family's past realities and the future you've dared to envision. And as you stand on the brink of becoming the first millionaire in your family, the significance of your unwavering heart is clearer than ever before. Chapter 2. What it means to be first. Stepping into an uncharted territory of wealth in your family line is exhilarating, but it also comes with a weight you might not have anticipated. If you become the first millionaire, you carry responsibilities that extend far beyond your own personal dreams. Some family members, even well-meaning ones, might expect immediate help, as though your success automatically solves everyone's issues. Others may express doubts or project their insecurities onto you. And then there's the subtle undercurrent of guilt that sometimes arises. Guilt for leaving behind the financial patterns you grew up in, or guilt for transcending hardships that older relatives deemed impossible to overcome. But to be the first is also to be a beacon. Think of how your younger cousins, siblings, or even your own children might see you when you manifest abundance that surpasses the old norms. You signal to them that boundaries placed by society or even by one's own upbringing aren't fixed. You shift the entire family's vantage point, making it easier for those who follow to believe in greater possibilities. You become a living model of reinvention, of turning dreams into reality. Being first also means learning to handle success graciously. Money, after all, doesn't just arrive in your bank account without stirring the energies around you. Some people might cheer you on wholeheartedly, celebrating your breakthroughs and hoping to glean insights. Others, weighed down by envy or skepticism, might question your intentions or assume your success is fleeting. You may face unasked for advice, whispered judgments, or sudden demands for loans. Yet in the midst of these conflicting responses, you have a golden chance to demonstrate humility and generosity. This is your laboratory for building stronger spiritual muscles, to remain grounded in your values while navigating a new financial reality. Moreover, stepping into this role unravels old patterns that have hindered prosperity in your family line. Perhaps your ancestors faced repeated obstacles, social barriers, lack of education, or cycles of unemployment. Their struggles might have solidified into a belief that financial security is out of reach. By rising to the status of a millionaire, you break those invisible chains. You rewrite the script that says, "We never get ahead," showing that with faith, strategy, and diligence, anything is possible. This is how you serve as a generational pivot point. Whether it's building or reinvesting resources, educating others, or simply showing them that one's circumstances can drastically change, your leadership becomes a blessing. Each day, as you practice wise stewardship of your finances, you also become a teacher to example. And while the load may feel heavy at times, you'll discover that carrying it can foster remarkable growth within yourself. You'll refine your ability to discern who needs genuine support versus who might be drawn by opportunistic reasons. You'll learn how to maintain boundaries that protect you, ensuring you remain aligned with the divine calling that placed you in this remarkable position in the first place. Chapter 3. Divine Timing for Your Shift. There's an unspoken rule about spiritual growth. It rarely aligns with the timelines you had in mind. You might have prayed or daydreamed for years, wondering why the big breakthrough never arrived. Yet the universe, or God, orchestrates events with impeccable precision. Had you received financial abundance back when you first craved it, maybe you would have been ill-equipped to handle the sudden responsibilities. Maybe your relationships needed reshaping, or your mindset wasn't yet stable enough to sustain real wealth. In short, you had to become the person capable of stewarding millions, not just obtaining them. So you went through your forging period. Trials taught you resourcefulness. Financial hardships showed you how to stretch a dollar. Emotional betrayals taught you discernment about who truly deserves your trust. These experiences weren't punishments. They were building blocks. They molded a version of you that understands the value of every cent, that can empathize with loved ones in need without enabling them, and that sees money not as a status symbol, but as a means to serve a higher purpose. By the time your big shift approaches, you're no longer naive or easily manipulated. You're tempered. Then quietly at first, signs of a shift began to appear. Perhaps it was an unexpected job offer, a budding business idea that wouldn't leave your mind, or a chance meeting with a future mentor. Each sign carried a sense of confirmation, as though saying, "Now is the time." You might have felt a burst of courage, a willingness to risk or invest in ways that once felt unimaginable. Ironically, as soon as you made one courageous choice, events started dominoing. Doors you never knew existed swung open, or creative solutions emerged for old financial woes. At this point, you realized that the impetus was divine. Sure, you did your part, but circumstances lined up too perfectly for it to be mere coincidence. The timing was orchestrated in a realm beyond your direct control. Friends or acquaintances might marvel at your breakthrough, not seeing the years of internal work and countless prayers leading up to this moment. From this vantage, you understand it's less about luck and more about alignment. Your heart's readiness finally converging with cosmic orchestration. Even so, the approach of your windfall might feel surreal. Sometimes your excitement skyrockets, while other times you question if it's a mirage. It's natural to oscillate between these extremes, yet deep within, you sense a peace that surpasses logical explanation. When you reflect on the trials, they suddenly make sense, each forming a thread in the tapestry of your readiness. You also recognize your accountability. Once you step into the role of the first millionaire, you can't claim ignorance. You'll have the moral and spiritual duty to manage your blessings with responsibility and compassion. Thus, this chapter in your journey clarifies that not only have you been chosen for this breakthrough, you've also been prepared for it. Every heartbreak, every closed door, every moment of doubt led you to refine your character and strengthen your bond with the divine. And so, when the channels of blessing open, you'll step forward not as a timid receiver, but as a worthy steward, guided by wisdom gleaned from each trial. Chapter 4. The family web you're about to reweave ancestry is more than a collection of genetic traits. It's a tapestry of stories, each thread woven from hopes, tragedies, triumphs, and limitations. Generations of your forebears might have struggled to secure basic necessities, or they may have felt locked out of opportunities by larger societal forces. Over time, this can birth a mindset that scarcity is normal, that wealth belongs to someone else. So when you become the first to break through and achieve a different level of abundance, you're not just changing your own story, you're altering the emotional and spiritual resonance of your entire lineage. Picture your ancestors watching from some eternal vantage point. They see you forging ahead, embodying dreams they once held, but perhaps lacked the resources or privilege to fulfill. For them, it's not simply about money, it's about redemption, about the fruit of their sacrifices and the unspoken prayers they once whispered. You become the embodiment of prayers they never saw answered in their lifetime. Though your accomplishment will be undeniably yours, there is also a collective release from generations of chains, resentment, frustration, or a sense of helplessness that may have lingered in your bloodline. As you step into the role of a trailblazer, family members might respond in different ways. Some will look at you with awe, grateful that your triumph bodes well for the entire family's future. They may find inspiration to start their own businesses or embark on self-improvement journeys they previously dismissed as fantasies. Others, however, might feel threatened, wondering if your success underlines what they didn't achieve. Old sibling rivalries or subtle parental resentments can bubble up, yet every reaction underscores the fact that your new financial standing is shaking up old family dynamics. This process can also be lonely at times. You might sense that certain relatives avoid you because your newfound status highlights insecurities or pushes them to confront their own unfulfilled goals. In these moments, you must discern how to share your blessings without disempowering those you love. Throwing money at a problem rarely solves it if underlying mindsets remain stuck in lack. Instead, you might choose to model self-reliance, personal growth, and strategic thinking, helping them see that transformation is possible for them too, rather than turning you into an endless well of financial bailouts. Still, the potential for healing is enormous. With your demonstration that wealth can be achieved ethically and compassionately, you create a blueprint for others to follow. Suddenly, cousins who never considered college might have a chance, or a sibling might resurrect an old passion they'd shelved out of fear. You become the portal through which familiar curses are replaced with blessings, and self-defeating beliefs are transformed into visions of empowerment. In that sense, your path to being the first millionaire is not a mere personal quest. It's a spiritual assignment that rewires the family web, binding you all together in a new narrative of hope and expansion. Chapter 5. Handling the surprising reactions. Once you fully embrace your upcoming elevation to wealth, you'll notice how it reveals the true nature of those around you. Some people will marvel at your success, eager to learn from your journey, and delighted to see you thrive. They'll celebrate each milestone and applaud your grit, seeing your story as a beacon of possibility for themselves and others. Their joy for you will be genuine, rooted in a belief that there's enough abundance in the universe for everyone. But not all reactions will be so kind. Certain individuals, perhaps old friends or distant relatives, may cloak their envy with forced congratulations. Underneath polite words, they might harbor private resentments or suspicions that you got lucky or sold out. Occasionally, their energy reveals itself through snide remarks or sudden ghosting. This shift might feel jarring, especially if you assume these people would cheer your rise. In truth, some are threatened by your elevation as it forces them to confront their own complacency or missed chances. Then there are the opportunists, Those who see your new status as a golden ticket to easy solutions. They come forward with outstretched hands, hoping you'll finance their dreams or dig them out of self-inflicted financial holes. A request for a small loan or an investment opportunity might crop up unannounced, testing your boundaries. As a chosen one, your generous heart might be tempted to rescue everyone, but you'll soon learn that indiscriminate giving can do more harm than good. Genuine generosity must be tempered with wisdom, ensuring you empower rather than enable. Navigating this emotional terrain will be a unique challenge. You'll balance compassion with discernment, figuring out how to remain approachable without becoming a doormat. Sometimes you'll have to say no, and guilt might pinch your conscience, but it's through these tough calls that you preserve the integrity of the blessing you've received, ensuring it can bear fruit long-term, rather than scattering it in all directions until it's depleted. At times, you might question your transformation. You could feel torn between your old self, who was once overlooked or undervalued, and the emerging identity of an influential force. But remember, wealth is a tool, not a personality. It doesn't change the essence of who you are unless you let it. This new financial chapter can magnify your best qualities if you remain grounded in faith, gratitude, and purpose. The surprising reactions from those around you serve as a mirror, reflecting the variety of perspectives people hold about money, success, and personal power. In the end, how others perceive your breakthrough says more about them than it does about you. Their responses reveal their own relationship with abundance, their own unhealed wounds, or unclaimed dreams. Your role isn't to fix them, but to remain authentic. You are, after all, stepping into a divine appointment that transcends momentary praise or disapproval. By maintaining grace amidst the swirling opinions, you model what it means to rise without losing yourself. And that example may well become the catalyst that sparks positive change even in those who initially reacted with doubt or envy. Chapter 6. Deeper Reasons. You're being elevated. Some might assume that becoming a millionaire is simply a matter of accumulating a lot of money, but you sense a deeper spiritual dimension. God doesn't place enormous wealth in a soul's path just for vanity. There's a reason you, of all people, are being positioned to achieve this milestone in your family. It's more than personal comfort or external validation. It's about fulfilling a larger mission that only someone with your convictions and compassion can carry out. For one, consider how your empathy shapes your ambitions. You've always cared about the well-being of others, whether that means a cousin who can't afford college, a neighbor struggling to start a small business, or a local community center that needs funding. With significant resources in your hands, you can make targeted investments that not only expand your wealth, but also uplift entire groups of people. This synergy of personal growth with collective betterment lies at the heart of divine abundance. Beyond outward philanthropy, there's also a symbolic power in your rise. When you walk confidently in your chosen path, you dismantle limiting narratives, not just for yourself, but for anyone watching. This might include distant relatives who once believed that certain achievements were off limits, or friends who never imagined they could break the income barriers assigned by their background. Each time they see you taking bold steps and reaping results, something shifts within them. They begin to suspect that maybe they too can accomplish what was previously deemed impossible. Another spiritual layer is found in your capacity to stay humble, not false humility that denies your accomplishments, but the sort that recognizes your blessings as part of a grander plan. It's the humility that keeps you remembering where you came from and why you're meant to forge this new road. Arrogance would distract you from the real purpose, but if you remain anchored, each decision you make, whether it's in business, finances, or personal relationships, can radiate a grace that touches everyone around you. Finally, your elevation might also refine you, ensuring that your character keeps pace with your material success. Access to wealth magnifies every corner of your soul, both light and shadow. If there's a fragment of you that hasn't healed or forgiven, it could become amplified under newfound power. Thus, in walking this path, you undergo an intense forging. The more you align with divine wisdom, the more your heart is purified of pettiness and greed. It's the reason so many spiritual messages emphasize humility, gratitude, and stewardship. You're not just receiving wealth, you're growing into the type of person who can handle it without losing your essence. All these threads weave together in a tapestry of purpose, with you at the center. This is why it's you, someone whose compassion balances ambition, whose sense of service outweighs ego, and who stands ready to demonstrate a new paradigm for your family and beyond. It's not random or arbitrary. Your entire life prepared you for this forging, the empathy and resilience required to steward blessings at such a scale. Chapter 7. Walking Toward the Inevitable. At this point, you've likely felt a shift in your mindset and daily habits. Maybe you're more disciplined about saving money or exploring new income streams that once felt too risky. Your conversations about abundance flow with greater conviction, and synchronicities keep nudging you toward opportunities. It's as if every fiber of the universe is cheering you on, aligning you with the destiny that's been whispered over your life since before you could remember. Standing on this cusp, the call to become the first millionaire in your family no longer seems an outlandish dream. It feels inevitable. Yet the final stretch of any extraordinary journey is often where the most persistent obstacles arise. You might notice sudden challenges, unexpected bills, personal doubts flaring up, or drama from people who sense you're pulling away from the normalcy they're used to. In these moments, you find yourself tested at a deeper level. Will you revert to old habits of fear or succumb to the noise of skeptics? Or will you hold fast to the vision that has propelled you this far? Each test is a chance to reaffirm your path, to fortify the faith you've carefully cultivated. Your day-to-day life may still feel unremarkable at times. You run errands, handle work responsibilities, nurture relationships, and tend to the mundane aspects of living. Yet within that routine beats the heart of someone on the verge of a breakthrough. You see possibility in the smallest of acts, an introduction that could spark a business collaboration, or a chance remark from a friend that leads you to a valuable insight. This heightened awareness becomes your new normal, a vantage point from which every detail carries potential significance. Perhaps you recall earlier episodes in your life when you felt surges of motivation only to see them sputter out. Now, however, something is different. The level of clarity you possess is sharper, the sense of divine backing more palpable. You realize that each prior failure was an essential stepping stone, teaching you how to avoid pitfalls and how to nurture your gifts without letting them be exploited. Bit by bit, your perspective evolves. It's not about chasing money for its own sake, but about heeding a cosmic summons to step into a role only you can fulfill. So you move forward balancing caution with daring. Even if your next big step seems daunting, you take it anyway, trusting that the net will appear beneath your feet. In quiet moments, you feel the presence of higher guidance and assurance that if you continue to walk in love, integrity, and tenacity, the resources you need will unfold. The specifics may not be crystal clear, where the final sum will come from or the exact timeline, but you walk in faith, anchored by the knowledge that becoming the first millionaire in your family is not just your destiny, but an act of grace meant to bless generations. And so, the path expands before you, offering as many questions as promises. Will the wealth arrive through a new venture or an opportunity you haven't yet envisioned? Will your family adapt and rise along with you, or will misunderstandings stir up conflict? Each day brings you closer to the answer, and each choice reaffirms that you, dear chosen one, are on the brink of rewriting your family story forever.